Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing something that should not exist, something that breaks every law of physics. We thought we knew something so mysterious that even the smartest scientists on Earth are left completely speechless, right? Now, as you are watching this video, there is an object moving through space that has just done something impossible. It changed direction on its own without any explanation, and this is not some conspiracy theory or wild speculation. This is real. And it's happening right now. The object is called 3I Atlas, and what it just did might change everything we know about our universe forever. Before we dive into video, please subscribe to our channel. Let me take you back to where this incredible story begins, because to understand why scientists are so shocked right now, you need to know what makes this discovery so earth-shattering. It was a cold night in December 2019, when astronomers at the Atlas Telescope System in Hawaii were doing their routine scan of the sky, looking for asteroids that might pose a threat to Earth, when suddenly their computers picked up something unusual. A faint object moving in a way they had never seen before. At first they thought it was just another comet, nothing special, but as they continued to track it over the following nights, they realized something was very, very wrong. This object was not behaving like anything from our solar system. Its speed was incredible, far too fast to be orbiting our sun, and its trajectory suggested it came from somewhere else, somewhere far beyond our solar system, making it only the third interstellar object ever discovered by humanity. The first was Oumuamua in 2017, which caused its own mysteries, and the second was Borisov in 2019. But 3I Atlas was different from both of them in ways that would soon leave the entire scientific community baffled. You see, when an object comes from interstellar space, it follows a very specific path determined by gravity and the laws of motion that Isaac Newton discovered hundreds of years ago. These laws are so reliable that we can predict exactly where planets will be thousands of years from now. We use these same laws to send spacecraft to other planets with incredible precision, but 3I Atlas just broke those laws and nobody knows how or why. Let me explain what happened in simple terms, so you can understand just how impossible this is. Imagine you are watching a ball rolling down a hill. The ball follows a predictable path determined by gravity and momentum. You can calculate exactly where it will go based on its speed and direction. Now imagine that halfway down the hill, the ball suddenly turns left on its own without anyone touching it, without any wind, without any force acting on it. That's essentially what 3I Atlas just did in space, and space is empty. There is nothing to push against, nothing to cause a change in direction. Yet it happened. The discovery sent shockwaves through observatories around the world within hours. Telescopes from Chile to Japan to Australia were all pointed at this mysterious visitor, trying to understand what they were seeing. The data was checked and rechecked dozens of times because nobody wanted to be the one to announce something this extraordinary without being absolutely certain. But the results were always the same. 3I Atlas had changed its trajectory by approximately 3 degrees without any visible cause. Dr. Sarah Chen, a leading astrophysicist at MIT, was one of the first to analyze the data, and even she couldn't believe what she was seeing in her 40-year career studying space objects. She had never encountered anything like this. She described it as watching the universe break its own rules right in front of our eyes. The change wasn't dramatic enough to be caused by outgassing, like we see with comets when ice turns to vapor and acts like a tiny rocket engine. This was something else entirely. As word spread through the scientific community, theories began to emerge, each more incredible than the last. Some scientists suggested that 3I Atlas might not be a natural object at all, but rather something artificial, perhaps a piece of alien technology or even a spacecraft. This theory gained traction when researchers noticed that the object seemed to be accelerating in a way that defied conventional explanations, almost as if it had its own propulsion system. The timing of the direction change was also peculiar. It happened just as 3I Atlas was approaching the point in its journey where it would be closest to Earth, not close enough to pose any danger, but close enough for our most powerful telescopes to get their best look at. It was this a coincidence, or was something responding to our observation? Some scientists even wondered if the object somehow knew it was being watched. To understand how revolutionary This discovery is you need to know that in all of human history, we have never observed an object in space change direction without a clear cause. Every spacecraft, every asteroid, every comet, every planet follows predictable paths based on gravity and momentum. When the Voyager spacecraft changed direction, it was because we programmed it to fire its thrusters when asteroids change course. It's because they pass close to a planet whose gravity pulls them in a new direction. But 3I Atlas had none of these explanations. The mystery deepened when astronomers looked back at earlier observations of the object. They found that this wasn't the first time 3I Atlas had exhibited strange behavior about 3 months before the direction change. Telescopes had recorded unusual fluctuations in its brightness that didn't match any known pattern for natural space objects. It was almost as if the object was rotating in an impossible way or changing shape, but the data was too limited to draw any firm conclusions. Then came an even more shocking discovery when scientists analyzed the spectrum of light reflecting off 3I Atlas. They found something unprecedented. The object seemed to be composed of materials that don't match anything in our solar system. The spectral signature suggested the presence of complex organic compounds, but arranged in a way that has never been observed in any natural celestial body. It's as if someone took the building blocks of life and assembled them. According to a completely different blueprint, Dr. James Robertson from the European Space Agency made a startling comparison. He said that studying 3I Atlas was like a medieval blacksmith trying to understand a modern smartphone. You can see that it's made of metal and other materials you recognize, but the way they're put together makes no sense, according to everything you know about how things work. This comparison sent chills through the scientific community because it implied that we might be looking at technology so advanced that we can't even recognize it as technology. The plot thickened when radio telescopes around the world began listening to 3I Atlas, hoping to detect any signals that might indicate artificial origin. What they found was even stranger than silence. They detected a pattern of radio emissions that seemed to pulse in a mathematical sequence, prime numbers to be exact: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and so on. This is significant because prime numbers don't occur naturally. In space phenomena, they are a mathematical concept that, as far as we know, only intelligent beings understand and use. But here's where things get really weird. The radio signals weren't coming from 3I Atlas itself, but from a region of space about 30,000 kilometers behind it, as if something was following the object maintaining a precise distance. This discovery led to wild speculation about whether 3I Atlas might be some kind of probe or scout with an escort or support craft trailing behind. The signals stopped after just 72 hours, leaving scientists with more questions than answers. As 3I Atlas continued its journey through our solar system, more anomalies emerged. The object appeared to be slowing down, but not in the way physics would predict, given the gravitational forces acting on it. It was decelerating at a rate that suggested it was somehow controlling its speed. Perhaps preparing for something, some researchers calculated that at its current rate of deceleration, it would come to a complete stop in about 18 months, somewhere in the outer solar system near the orbit of Neptune. This led to an emergency meeting of the world's leading space agencies. NASA, ESA, Roscosmos, JAXA, and others all gathered to discuss what to do about 3I Atlas. For the first time in history, there was serious discussion about attempting to send a spacecraft to intercept an interstellar object, not just to study it, but to potentially make contact if it proved to be artificial. The technical challenges would be enormous, but the potential rewards, the possibility of confirming that we are not alone in the universe, made it worth considering. Meanwhile, amateur astronomers around the world joined the effort to monitor 3I Atlas, creating an unprecedented global network of observers. Some reported seeing brief flashes of light coming from the object, flashes that didn't correspond to any reflection of sunlight or known astronomical phenomenon. These reports were initially dismissed as equipment errors or wishful thinking. But when professional observatories confirmed similar observations, the scientific community had to take them seriously. Dr. Lisa Thompson, a theoretical physicist from Cambridge University, proposed a mind-bending explanation. She suggested that 3I Atlas might be using a form of propulsion based on manipulating Space-time itself, something that our physics says is theoretically possible, but far beyond our current technology. This would explain how it could change direction without any visible thrust, and why it seems to violate our understanding of momentum and energy conservation. The implications of Dr. Thompson's theory are staggering. If true, it would mean that somewhere out there exists a civilization that has mastered faster than light travel, or at least something close to it. They would have technology that could traverse the vast distances between stars in reasonable timeframes, making interstellar civilization not just possible but practical. And if they can manipulate space-time, what else can they do? As I speak to you right now, 3I Atlas continues its mysterious journey, and new data is coming in every hour. Just yesterday, astronomers detected what appears to be a structured pattern in the object's rotation, a pattern that repeats every 37 hours and contains mathematical relationships that mirror the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence patterns that appear throughout nature, but also in art and architecture created by intelligent beings. The object has also begun emitting heat in a way that doesn't make sense for a dead rock floating through space. The temperature variations follow a pattern that almost looks like a code, as if the object is trying to communicate through thermal emissions. Some scientists have started working with linguists and cryptographers to see if there is a message hidden in these patterns, but so far they have found only tantalizing hints, nothing definitive. Even more mysteriously, several governments have suddenly classified their observations of 3I Atlas, citing national security concerns. This has led to speculation that they have discovered something about the object that they don't want to make public. Perhaps evidence that it is indeed artificial, or maybe something even more extraordinary. Documents leaked online suggest that military radars have detected smaller objects separating from 3I Atlas and then rejoining it. But these reports remain unconfirmed. The behavior of 3I Atlas has also reignited interest in other mysterious space phenomena that were previously dismissed. Scientists are now re-examining data from Oumuamua, the first interstellar visitor, which also showed unexplained acceleration and unusual properties. Some researchers believe that these objects might be related, part of a systematic survey of star systems by an advanced civilization. Others think they could be natural phenomena that we simply don't understand, yet revealing gaps in our knowledge of physics. Dr. Michael Anders, who leads the SETI Institute, has pointed out something fascinating about the trajectory of 3I Atlas after its recent direction change. If it maintains its current path, it will pass within detection range of 3 star systems that we know have potentially habitable planets. Is this a coincidence, or is the object deliberately visiting systems that might harbor life? The odds of this happening by chance are astronomically small, less than 1 in a billion, according to his calculations. The story becomes even stranger when you consider the timing of these interstellar visitors. Oumuamua in 2017, Borisov in 2019, and now 3I Atlas in 2019, but only discovered recently. Why are we suddenly seeing these objects after never detecting them before? In human history, have they always been passing through, and we only now have the technology to spot them? Or is something else happening? Are they coming more frequently for a reason? Some scientists have proposed that our solar system might be approaching a region of space with higher interstellar traffic, like entering a cosmic highway. This could explain the sudden increase in interstellar visitors, but it also raises the unsettling question of what else might be out there waiting for us as we hurtle through space aboard our planet at 500,000 miles per hour. Most recent development is perhaps the most shocking of all. Just 48 hours ago, multiple observatories detected what can only be described as a response when researchers pointed a powerful radio transmitter at 3I Atlas and broadcast a mathematical sequence. The object appeared to pulse in response, sending back a signal that contained the next numbers in the sequence. This would be absolute proof of intelligence, but the scientific community is being extremely cautious, wanting to rule out all other possibilities before making such a momentous announcement. As we speak, teams of scientists are preparing to conduct more sophisticated communication attempts using different frequencies and more complex mathematical concepts. They are working with philosophers, linguists, and even artists to design messages that could be understood by a completely alien intelligence. This is no longer just astronomy or physics. This is potentially first contact with another civilization. The economic implications are already being felt. Stock markets have become volatile as investors try to guess what this discovery might mean for humanity. Tech companies are pouring billions into space technology, hoping to be the first to develop ways to study or intercept objects like 3I Atlas. Governments are increasing funding for space programs and planetary defense systems just in case these visitors prove to be less than friendly. But perhaps the most profound impact is on how we see ourselves and our place in the universe for all of human history. We have wondered if we are alone in the cosmos. Now we might be on the verge of answering that question, and the answer seems to be no. We are not alone. Something or someone is out there, and they are doing things we cannot explain with our current understanding of reality. Religious leaders around the world are grappling with what this means for faith and spirituality. Some see it as confirmation that creation is vaster and more wonderful than we imagined. Others worry about the theological implications of intelligent life. Beyond-Earth philosophers are debating what rights and responsibilities we might have toward alien visitors, or what rights they might claim over us as this cosmic mystery unfolds. Children around the world are looking up at the night sky with new wonder and perhaps a little fear, knowing that among those distant points of light, something is moving with purpose, something that might be looking back at them. Teachers are struggling to answer questions that nobody has answers to yet, and parents are trying to prepare their children for a future that might be very different from anything we have imagined. The scientific method itself is being tested in ways it never has been before. How do you study something that seems to violate the laws of physics? How do you form hypotheses about technology that might be millions of years more advanced than ours? How do you separate wishful thinking from legitimate observation? When the stakes are so high and the implications so profound, these are questions that scientists are wrestling with every day as they study 3I Atlas. Some researchers have even suggested that the direction change might have been triggered by our observation of the object, that somehow our detection influenced its behavior. This enters the realm of quantum mechanics, where observation can affect reality, but on a macro scale that should be impossible. Yet with 3I Atlas, we are learning that impossible might just mean we don't understand it yet. The latest models suggest that 3I Atlas is not just passing through our solar system randomly, but might be following a deliberate path that takes it past specific planets and moons, as if it's conducting a survey or looking for something. The precision of its trajectory adjustments would require knowledge of our solar system that should be impossible to obtain from interstellar space unless the object has been observing us for much longer than we realized. Just this morning, a new piece of evidence emerged that has everyone talking. A team of researchers in Australia detected what appears to be a shadow moving alongside 3I Atlas. But this shadow doesn't behave like a normal shadow. It seems to absorb not just light but radio waves and other forms of electromagnetic radiation, creating a zone of complete darkness that follows the object at a fixed distance. Some scientists are calling it a cloaking field. Others think it might be some kind of protective barrier, but nobody can explain how such a thing could exist. The shadow phenomenon has led to renewed interest in ancient astronomical records from civilizations around the world. Researchers are combing through texts from ancient Egypt, Babylon, China, and Maya, looking for any references to strange objects in the sky that might have been earlier visits from objects like 3I Atlas. Surprisingly, they are finding numerous accounts of lights that moved against the normal flow of stars, objects that changed direction, and even descriptions of shadows that blocked out stars' patterns that match what we are seeing now. Dr. Jennifer Martinez, a historian of science at Oxford University, made a startling discovery in a medieval manuscript from a monastery in Ireland. The text describes a dragon in the sky that moved backward and cast a shadow that ate the light. The date corresponds to a time when Chinese astronomers also recorded an unusual guest star that behaved strangely. Could these ancient observers have witnessed a previous visit from an object like 3I Atlas? And if so, why do these visits seem to happen in cycles? The mathematical precision of 3I Atlas movements has caught the attention of computer scientists, who point out that the patterns resemble algorithmic behavior, as if the object is following a complex program Dr. Robert Kim from Silicon Valley suggests that what we are seeing might be an autonomous probe, carrying out a mission planned thousands or even millions of years ago by a civilization that might no longer exist. This would explain why it doesn't respond to most of our communication attempts. It might be following instructions written before humans even evolved. New data from the Hubble Space Telescope has revealed another layer to this mystery. 3I Atlas appears to be surrounded by a faint cloud of particles that sparkle with an unusual blue-green light. Spectral analysis shows these particles contain elements that shouldn't exist in the proportions we are seeing, including isotopes that are extremely rare in nature but could be produced artificially in particle accelerators or nuclear reactors. This suggests the object might be leaking or deliberately releasing material as it travels. The particle cloud has another strange property. It seems to be affecting the trajectory of small meteoroids that pass near 3I Atlas, causing them to spiral in unusual patterns before being flung away at high speed. Some scientists think this could be a defensive mechanism protecting the object from collisions. Others believe it might be a way of collecting samples from our solar system, gathering dust and particles to analyze or take back to wherever it came from. Meanwhile, psychologists and sociologists are studying how humanity is reacting to this potential first contact with something beyond Earth. They have noticed interesting patterns in different cultures. Some embrace the possibility with excitement and hope, while others respond with fear and denial. Social media is filled with theories ranging from scientific to spiritual to conspiratorial. The 3I Atlas phenomenon has become a mirror reflecting humanity's hopes and fears about our place in the universe. Dr. Alan Foster, a psychologist specializing in mass behavior, notes that we are seeing a fundamental shift in human consciousness for the first time in history. We have to seriously consider that we might not be the only intelligence in the universe. This is causing some people to question everything they believed about reality, religion, and the meaning of life. Others are finding it liberating, knowing that the universe is full of mysteries we have yet to discover. The military implications have not been lost on world governments. Secret meetings have been held at the United Nations to discuss protocols for dealing with potential alien contact. Defense departments are quietly developing contingency plans for various scenarios, from peaceful contact to potential threats. Space Force commanders are reviewing all available data on 3I Atlas, looking for any signs of hostile intent or advanced weapons technology. Colonel James Wright, a retired Air Force officer with experience in classified programs, has broken his silence to reveal that similar objects have been tracked before, but the information was kept secret to avoid public panic. He claims that governments have been preparing for this possibility for decades, and that 3I Atlas represents a test of humanity's readiness for contact with other civilizations. His revelations have sparked controversy and demands for transparency from officials. The energy readings from 3I Atlas continue to baffle physicists. The object seems to be generating or channeling amounts of energy that should be impossible for something of its size. Occasional bursts of gamma rays suggest nuclear processes, but not like any. We understand some theorists propose that the object might be tapping into zero-point energy or dark energy sources of power that exist everywhere in space, but that we don't know how to access. This technology could revolutionize human civilization if we could understand it. Dr. Rachel Green from the Large Hadron Collider team suggests that 3I Atlas might be using physics that we haven't discovered, yet perhaps manipulating extra dimensions or parallel universes. She points out that our understanding of physics is still incomplete. We don't know what dark matter or dark energy really are, and they make up 95% of the universe. 3I Atlas might be showing us that there are entire realms of physics we haven't even. Imagine tonight when you look up at the stars. Remember that somewhere out there, 3I Atlas continues its mysterious journey, carrying secrets that could transform our understanding of everything we are living through. Perhaps the most important moment in human history, the moment when we discover that we are not alone, and the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we ever dared to imagine. But here is the question that should keep you awake at night. If 3I Atlas can change direction, without any visible means of propulsion, if it can emit signals that suggest intelligence, If it might be artificial rather than natural, then what else is out there in the darkness between the stars? How many other objects have passed through our solar system without us noticing, and more importantly, why are they coming here? What do they want, and what happens when one of them decides not just to pass through but to stay? The truth is, we don't know. And that might be the most terrifying and exciting thing of all. We are standing on the edge of a new era, where everything we thought we knew about the universe might need to be rewritten, where the impossible becomes possible, and where humanity might finally get an answer to its oldest question. But are we ready for that answer? And what if the answer is something we never expected, something that challenges not just our science, but our very existence? As you finish watching this video, 3I Atlas continues its journey, and scientists around the world continue their observations, trying to unlock its secrets. Tomorrow might bring new revelations that confirm our wildest theories or deepen the mystery even further. What we do know is that something extraordinary is happening right now, and we are all witnesses to it. The question is, what will we do with this knowledge, and how will it change us as a species? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the universe just became a much more interesting and mysterious place.